Fay remembers.
We went down to the City Hall to meet all the civil servants down there. I loved it because he brought the candidate down there to meet them, but he got so carried away, he started singing Sweet Adeline, and Jack had to keep saying, don't forget who the candidate is.
Helped by the Kennedy name and money, the Irish vote, his war record, and his ready platform presence and charm, Kennedy won the first of 3 terms as a congressman from Massachusetts.
John F. Kennedy's 6 years in the House were not outstanding in his opinion or in the opinion of his friends as well as his critics.
He was not really big at politics. He would talk about it on a broad scale. But as far as being the committee chairman and who was going to become the majority leader and who was going to do this and that, this was something that at that early days he was not greatly interested in.
Won't you tell us about some of the interesting objects surrounding you here?
Yes, I'd be glad to. This is a model of a PT boat in which I served during the war. And then here we have a picture of...
Details of Kennedy's personal life sometimes seem more memorable. For all his proven bravery, the hero of the Solomon Islands was afraid of the common cold. Old friend Cayman Newbury recalls being caught in the rain at a baseball game.
So this occasion when we got into the car and his clothes were sopping wet, I think he said, oh, I'm going to catch a terrible cold. I better get out of these clothes. Well, to my amazement and later on to my horror, he not only removed his shirt, socks, shoes, trousers, but also his underwear. And there I am driving a young congressman from Massachusetts through downtown Washington at 12:30 at night, stark naked. I said, Jack, you know, if we're stopped for a traffic violation or an accident, this is going to look very, very peculiar indeed. Well, he said, I don't care. I don't care. I'd rather be arrested for public indecency than catch my death of cold.
Despite his indifferent record in Congress, Kennedy was impatient to move up the political ladder. In 1952, he made the daring decision to run for the Senate against the popular and patrician Republican opponent, Henry Cabot Lodge.
Every weekend, we ran the teas and receptions in 35 different communities. The first one was held in Worcester, and 5,000 women attended.
Of course, Cabot Lodge, after the campaign, would refer to those damn tea parties. And they were very effective. He was the first person to ever organize, as far as I can remember, small parties in people's houses all over the state of Massachusetts.
We're going down to the North End at the Michelangelo School to a rally, and a car pulled up, and Henry Cabot Lodge is in it. And he put down the window, and he leaned out, and he said, hey, Jack, what a hell of a way to make a living. People liked both of them. You know, they were both Harvard. They were both had great war records. They were fine gentlemen, and the average voter in Massachusetts said, too bad we can't have Kennedy and Lodge.
Credited with having shaken the hands of more than 70,000 women at teas and receptions across the state, Kennedy scored an upset victory over Lodge by an almost identical margin of votes. While wooing the woman's vote, Kennedy had been pursuing a more private courtship, this time the daughter of a socially prominent family, Jacqueline Bouvier, then working as a photographer for a Washington paper. At 32, after a notable career as a man about town, Kennedy's bachelor days came to an end.
There were 1,200 at the wedding, and everywhere you looked, you saw a congressman, a senator, or a celebrity, or Kennedy, or Fitzgerald. They built a dance floor right on the grass there, and you're looking out, you could see horses and cows, and I think the Maya Davis's Society band played there. It was a beautiful day. Everything about it was sensational.
Returning to Washington with his bride, Kennedy began a period of tranquil happiness at home and hard work in the Senate. Hardly a year later, he suffered an alarming interruption when in the winter of 1954-55, his recurrent back ailment twice required major corrective surgery. Even after a long and uncertain convalescence at Palm Beach, pain would remain an intermittent companion. for the rest of his life.
I was with him when he took his first step. He put his feet in the salt water by the beach. I never saw a person so happy that he realized he had it beat. And from then on, it was go, go, go.
It is now my privilege to present to this convention as a candidate for President of the United States the name of the man uniquely qualified by virtue of his compassion, his conscience, and his courage.
No pain now could still his ambitions. After nominating Adlai Stevenson at the 1956 Democratic Convention in Chicago, Kennedy himself was nominated for vice president and lost by a narrow margin.
Florida now casts 17 1/2 sunshine votes for Senator Kefauver, 10 1/2 for Senator Kennedy. Recognizing that this convention has selected a man who has campaigned in all parts of the country, who has worked entirely for the party, who will serve as an admirable running mate to Governor Stevenson, I hope that this convention will make S.D. Kefauver's nomination unanimous. Thank you.
And now it is my pleasure to present the next Vice President of the United States.
Though sobered by defeat, it was as if a door had suddenly opened and closed. But in that brief moment, he had glimpsed the future that lay beyond.
He said, I couldn't back away from a challenge. With about 24 hours work, I came within 30.5 votes of winning the second spot. And then he added, if we all work like hell the next 4 years, I'll pick up all the marbles.
His shot at the vice presidency was a great indication of the fact that he's ready to go. He was getting ready to go.
Steadily broadening his ties to Democratic leaders across the country, Kennedy began to seek a wider public. At the risk of seeming anti-labor, he joined the Senate committee investigating labor racketeering, clashed with Teamster boss James Hoffa.
But you did not break off your agreement, which you could have done.
I would like to say, Senator, that if you're trying to penalize the American labor movement for Hoffa, or for your dislike for Hoffa, then spell it out in the law, exempting everybody except Hoffa. Will you please?
Well, we're exempting everyone but racketeers and hoodlums and crooks.
I would like to have you draft that language, sir.
I'm not talking necessarily about you. I'm talking about the people you surrounded yourself with.
Well, I would like to say, sir, I don't accept their judgment.